Good afternoon, everybody. Very welcome to you here on this Sunday afternoon on the 14th of January in the year of our Lord 2024. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you someone I ran into on TikTok. This is Dan. He runs the TikTok channel Atheist Community of South Africa. And welcome to our channel, Dan. It's very nice to have you here.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
Your comment section is lit. I'm telling you,
dude. It's insane. It's insane, dude. It is crazy. Like the debates that go on there, and then you got to like. I kind of sometimes think like the cognitive dissonance you need to be able to believe the stuff that those guys believe is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. So let's jump a little bit into your story, Dan. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you grow up in a religious environment? What was the first couple of years like for young Dan?
Well, okay, so yeah, like I grew up quite religious. I grew up in a very like evangelical. What now? Sorry.
I said me too.
Oh, yeah, no, dude, it was like evangelical kind of Christian, that charismatic church kind of. I don't know, dude. It's but very, very religious. Yeah.
And what was the what was the journey like letting go of that? Surely. There was. Can you identify a specific moment where you can say, "Okay, this is it. I don't believe anymore," or was it more like a gradual process of letting go, bit by bit by bit?
Yeah, so it was a lot more gradual than just here's an aha moment kind of thing. I didn't have a aha moment, if you can put it like that. I think so. Like I went to Bible college at a stage, and obviously like reading the Bible, like that kind of set me down the path.
That'll do it.
So I kind of had a look at some of the stuff there, and I was just like, look, I can no longer make excuses for God anymore, and I can no longer be intellectually dishonest about the shit that's going on in this book. So I was just like, okay, like, no, this doesn't make any sense. And so obviously I started questioning a lot of stuff. So that's kind of what it kind of like boils down to. Obviously there's like a lot more to it, but that's the basis. Yeah.
So any specific person or organization that influenced this critical examination of the scriptures, or was it just a complete inside job?
So look, I don't think there was a person that kind of influenced it. It was more, at the time. So like my wife was diagnosed with brain cancer, and so there was a lot of stuff there, and I was still involved in a church at the time. And essentially what happened was, obviously that whole spiel of, keep praying and keep, having faith and stuff like that. And so like, obviously I did, I had all the faith in the world that my wife would recover, and stuff like that. And she just kind of never did. And I always like saw God as somebody who was more concerned about a rugby game match or finding someone's car keys or healing them of a headache or something. But he couldn't be bothered to like help my wife with cancer. And then it kind of led me down the questioning of like, is God good? And as I like kind of went through that, it was just, there was so much more to it. And I realized like, why do I believe what I believe? And so now I'm like, I have no good reason to believe that there is a God. Yeah.
It's crazy. It never ceases to amaze me how there's always like a little seed that is sown somewhere along the road. And then, we keep on traveling, and then, a couple of kilometers down the line, we look back and we see this massive tree that's grown where there was just a little seed of doubt planted. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if you've heard that expression, death by 1,000 cuts, which means
Yes. Yes.
it was a bit like that for me, where
Okay.
you can always you can always reconcile one thing, and you taught as a believer that that the truth is massaged.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
massaged quite extensively by these people who are selling this to you. So, and it's very
Yes.
crazy how they do that. Yeah? So,
Yeah, for sure.
and the funny thing is, it always comes from an authority figure. There's some kind of authority
Yeah.
figure, and
Yeah, for sure.
especially the environment that I grew up in. You were never to question authority, and
No.
when
No.
preacher XYZ, the man of virtue.
Yes. Yes.
Meanwhile, on the
Yes.
weekend, he's at the truck stop with the prostitutes. But
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. That resonates so much.
yeah. And you'll buy it hook, line, and sinker. And the funny thing is, I was so
Sorry, say
angry.
again?
I said, you'll buy it hook, line, and sinker. And
No.
the funny thing
Yeah.
is, when I realized that, hey, wait a minute, this is all a big con, I was so angry. I was furious.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude.
Furious because
Yes.
you trust these people, and you trust these people are not
Yeah.
going to lie to you, and they're not going to abuse your your good nature and everything. And lo and
Yeah.
behold,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, dude. For real, man.
So tell us a little bit. I see that you are posting a lot on TikTok. Are you involved in any kind of other activism online or in person?
Yeah. So essentially, like, I think something that was really big for me was when I was deconstructing was that I felt obviously alone and ostracized, and it was kind of a big thing, and so like what I did was I decided I'm going to start the atheist community of South Africa, and essentially like have a bunch of people to be there for people who are deconstructing their faith and stuff like that. And I think something that I'd like to promote is critical thinking and secular humanism. Um, yeah, so I think that's what I'm doing at the moment, activism wise, is to be there for people who are deconstructing, and yeah, kind of like lend a hand where I can.
Yeah. And what's it like right there in the middle of the country? Do is there a lot of atheists there, or is it God's country?
Dude, yeah, my man. Like I said, I'm in Bloemfontein, so obviously it's the most, like, aside from Oranje, Bloemfontein is probably the most conservative place in South Africa. So no, dude, it's difficult here because you don't just find atheists here. Everybody here is a Christian, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, no.
And let's you spoke a little bit about promoting critical thinking, skepticism, and
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Do you find
Yeah.
that it is now that you're having conversations with religious people after you've deconverted, do you find that personally, what I find is that it's almost like I've got there's a critical thinker at the back of my brain when I'm talking to people, and every time as they're saying something, there is like a light that goes on. Fallacy. Doesn't follow from that. It's weird how that works. But
Yeah.
what I was going to ask you is, we always like to laugh at. Yeah, I was such a heavy Christian, and I was so deep into it and everything. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
religion has a very negative impact on people
Yeah.
that we don't necessarily always highlight. It teaches you a lot of harmful ways of thinking about yourself and relating to the world.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any negative impacts that you recognize now that you reflect on your life as a believer? I mean, for me personally, my biggest one was I was constantly living in fear. I was so scared of doing something that's going to anger God or put me on the naughty list.
Yep. Yep. So so for me, it was like it was very similar. Like I think I was also living in a lot of fear all the time, and like I was scared of everything. Obviously, when you're a Christian, you believe in like demons and angels and all sorts of weird shit. So like for me, I genuinely believed in demons, so I was obviously always scared that my son would get possessed by a demon, or that I would have some terrible attack at night. So I used to have like terrible nightmares, man, like crazy about all this stuff. And once I stopped believing it, all the nightmares went away, all the fear went away. I was like, dude, that shit's not real. It's like I can watch horror movies and not like fret at all anymore. But I must say, like on a more psychological level, like Christianity definitely taught me that, that quintessential, you are nothing without God, and you are the scum, and you were born into sin, and like. So I genuinely believe that, man. Like for 28 years of my life, I believed that I was worth nothing, that I am nothing, that I'm not smart, that I'm not good, that I'm not like, that I'm a really bad person, I'm a shitty human being. And it's something that I'm still kind of working on, and that really made me feel like I'm not smart, I'm not worth anything. And coming out of Christianity, obviously I started realizing, no, dude, I'm actually fucking smart. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. I mean that just like, no, I'm actually worth a damn, I'm worth the person I am. I'm a good person. I care for people. Hell, that's my job, So like, I really, I think there's a lot of toxic traits in Christianity that I had to unlearn, that I'm still busy unlearning.
Yeah. And it leaves a lasting impact. You'll find yourself going through your life, and you instinctively behave in a certain way when a certain situation comes up, and only afterwards you see to yourself like, hey, wait a minute, like that comes from religion. Like, why am I so submissive when I encounter my boss, for example? It's like, because I was taught that. I was taught that people in authority automatically have power over you. It's very strange.
For sure.
So how did you go about, are you out and about as an atheist, or are you still only well, I mean, I guess since you're on TikTok, there's no really hiding that you're an atheist, but,
not anymore, no.
Yeah,
I think, look, so it was very recently that I kind of came out as an atheist, if you can put it like that. So look, I've been an atheist for like 2 years now. I was agnostic, obviously, first, questioning, etc. But yeah, for the past 2 years, I've actually been like an atheist, and I've only recently come out to people, but it's been a rough journey. So yeah.
How did your friends and your family members react to this?
So this is very interesting, actually. Well, obviously, my family not so keen. There's been a lot of conflict with my family. Obviously, coming from very religious background, they're still loving, which I love about them. They still, love me and everything. But yeah, there's this tension now, So there's that.
It's because Satan is signing your paycheck at the end of the month, So of course,
dude. But here's what's interesting. This is what's really interesting to me is I didn't know this, right? But at the time of my deconstruction, 2 or 3 of my best friends were deconstructing as well. I didn't know that. And when I finally like told them, look, dude, I don't know if I believe this shit anymore, they were like, hey, me too. So it was actually that was really cool. Hey, you know what? The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Exactly. It's weird how that works, yeah. So, let's talk about this. You always get this kind of pushback when you tell people that you're an atheist.
Yeah.
Well, where do you get your morals from? Like how can you tell right from wrong if you don't have the desert god of the Jews on the one shoulder and the Satan on the other side? Like how do you know? Like what's good and what's evil? So how do you reconcile that? That looking for a moral framework within religion, and how do you find the moral framework now within a life free from religion?
So obviously that's a huge misconception, that whole like there is no morals without God, you have to have an objective morality. Dude, I don't know how to talk to Christians about it, because theists have this like closed-minded dogmatic view that this is the way it is and that's the way it is, because obviously in Psalms it tells you like if you are not like if you that whole like only a fool says in his heart there is no God, and people who don't say that there is a God, i.e. atheists, are perverse and wicked. So it's very difficult to kind of reconcile that. It's difficult to like explain that to theists, but essentially like, dude, I don't believe in objective morality. I don't believe that you should not be a dick just because the book tells you to not be a dick. Just don't be a dick, Like, I am not going to go, like, kick my son and abuse my son simply because a holy book says I shouldn't do it. Like, I know personally that's a terrible thing to do. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. The this is true what
yeah, dude, for sure.
But here is my thing, like I'm always fascinated by these abstract type of conversations about morality, and people will say to you, well, where do you get objective morality from? And then my first question is, what is objective morality? Surely objectivity means that it's universal, that it's free from human opinion and influence, since it is objective. And then I asked them to name me a specific objective. Can you please name one objective moral? Thou shalt not kill. Then I said to them, well, what happens in wars? Like every single objective moral has examples where it's not objective. You can simply look at that. So, after going around in circles for a couple of rounds on this, I simply say, like, I put it to you that your morals are as subjective as everybody else's. We as societies create morals a la carte.
Yes.
As we need them. Like 100 years ago, people had a big problem with homosexuals, and nowadays everybody's fine with it. Like a couple of hundred years ago, women weren't even allowed to work, and now everybody's fine with women running the government, so
absolutely,
it's completely subjective. And like I said, it's ad hoc. We create our morality ad hoc, even from country to country. What people would consider moral in a village in Kenya will differ vastly from what people would consider moral in a city like New York. So if that doesn't show to you how it is subjective, I don't know how else to put it to you.
Sorry, I missed that last part.
I said, if you cannot tell from that it is subjective, I don't know how else to put it to you so that you understand.
Yes. And the thing is, like, again, you'd have to define objective morality. Do you mean objective in the sense of like societal morality? So like, is it objectively moral in society? So like, I know not to kick a dog. Like objectively, everybody would agree that's a bad thing, right? So like, is it that kind of objective, or are you talking about a spiritually objective?
But there are those amongst us who are inclined to abusing animals. So how can you say it is objective? You know, it's not objective because not every single person agrees on that fact. In fact, there are societies that consider dogs a delicacy and dine on them quite frequently. You know, so how can you say it's objectively wrong to kick a dog? I mean, do you? I don't mind playing with my food. So you can always find counterexamples of these things. You know, so
that's true. That's very true. Yeah,
it's a very, very, very slippery slope that they. But what they actually mean when they say, "Where do you get your morals from?" They are expressing the desire to be a slave. That's all that they are expressing, the desire, that sickly yearning to be subservient, to have a master, not to be in control of everything, because it's hard to think for yourself and to come up with your own set of morals and to evaluate how your actions have consequences. So it's much easier to follow a set of rules that somebody has decided, okay, this is good and this is bad. So
absolutely,
it ultimately comes from that desire to be a slave. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I can't remember what like movie it was from, but there was like, or I think I might have read it in a book. I don't know if you've read the Skullduggery series.
I haven't. No.
But like, so there's a quote in there that says that humans have this desire to be ruled. And it's like, it's so true, man. Like people just want to be ruled, want to be told what to do, because it's easier than coming up with stuff for yourself. It's easier than thinking critically.
It's true. So Dan, tell us, you know, what are some of the misconceptions that you've heard about atheists? You know, besides the orgies in the forest and you know, the full moon parties, you know, where we have witches and
the sacrificing babies and stuff like that. Sure, yeah. I mean, like.
Oh, so by the way, the baby roast is at my place next weekend.
Say again.
I said the baby roast is at my place next weekend.
Yeah, dude. So, like, aside from all those lovely misconceptions, there is another one that I've heard countless times, and it is that like atheists can't love because God is love. Therefore, like atheists cannot love. You know, so if you don't have a God, obviously you're not capable of like true love. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard, dude. Like my job, right? I'm a caretaker. I'm in healthcare. I look after people in palliative care. So you know, people who are frail, who are dying, that sort of thing. Like that's my job. You know, it's to be like wrist deep in other people's shit sometimes, literally. And I do that out of love, you know, out of compassion. And I'm like, how can you can you say that atheists don't have love? Like, dude, I am such a loving dude. Like, I don't mean to like, again, it's not to be cocky, but like, I mean, not everybody can do that job, you know, and so it takes a lot of love. So, and I love my patients, man. Like, so yeah, it's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. So yeah.
You know what my favorite one is? You atheist, you just want to sin. That's why you.
Yes. You just like sinning. Like, no, dude. I mean, yes, but like, no, that's not why I'm an atheist.
That's so funny. Y'all just want to sin. You just want to sin. You hate God, you know?
Dude. Bunch of bullshit, man.
So you mentioned critical thinking earlier on.
Yeah.
You know, how important was the role of thinking critically about your beliefs? And, did you go through that process of critical examination? And maybe tell us what that was like for you.
Yeah. So like, so obviously as a Christian, like there are a lot of things that are taboo, that you're not allowed to study, that you're not allowed to look into, because it's like against the word of God. You're not allowed to look into the Big Bang Theory because, God created the earth. So you're not allowed to question that. Like evolution, that is completely off the table because God created us in his image. Dude, yeah, dude. Anyway, so like for me, when I started deconverting, I was like, okay, so there is absolutely no evidence for anything concerning a God. I'm curious though. I'm going to go look up some evolution stuff. And I went into it, and I went into like biological or evolutionary biology. And I got to tell you, man, I'm going to study that stuff till the day I die. I am so interested and fascinated with evolutionary biology and anthropology. So yeah, I just started researching stuff like that. And there was so much more evidence for this than there was for a God claim. And I love it. I love it. So when I started thinking critically about how, the human origins came, how the earth, the origin of the world, of the universe, stuff like that, and I really did some research on it, I realized that my view on the theological doctrine was so dogmatic. It was so narrow-minded. It was like, this is what you're taught, that's what you believe, end of story. And it's so stupid because now there's so much better evidence out there for us as humans and for the origins of the universe. So yeah, no, like critical thinking played a huge role, and it still does. So I'm a lot more pragmatic in the way I think now, especially when it comes to like being an atheist. I think I'm a lot more agnostic in my atheism, though, in a sense that I've got an open mind. If you come to me with a God claim and you can give me verifiable evidence that I can test, repeat, and all sorts of stuff, if I can put this to the test and really no longer discard the evolution or something like that, and I have no way to disprove God anymore, then fine, you've proven a God to me. But you really have to come up with verifiable evidence for that, because until I see some, I'm not going to just go ahead and believe your claim anymore.
And what I find very, very liberating is to admit ignorance when you are ignorant.
Yeah.
I used to be extremely uncomfortable to say, I don't know this. It was almost like it was, it created some form of insecurity within me. But, as I grew older, I realized that firstly, saying I don't know is honest. It is the most honest thing that you can do. Instead of fabricating a whole universe of fairy tales and gods and everything.
Fairy tales,
it's honest, and also it's the starting point of learning. So if you can admit that you don't know something, then you're open to investigating the options. And a lot of people are,
for sure.
They I think it's from our evolution that we have this desire of, with this need for certainty. Because if you're living on the African savannah as, a hunter-gatherer, and you are not sure if that rustling in the bushes is a lion or a predator, and you say, just let it be.
Yeah,
you were not the one that survived. Like the ones that were survived,
no, for sure.
People who were always running away from the
yes. I love that, and I love that. I love that metaphor. I love that analogy, because it's like if there's a rustling in the grass and you think it's the wind, but it's actually a predator, you're lunch. But if you think it's a predator and it's just the wind, the worst thing that's going to happen is you ran a bit further than you thought you were going to that day. So what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've already said the answer to my next question, which is just, it's amazing how, even, I say to myself, science will never know everything, and that's fine. It's a process of learning everything. But I am far more inclined now to look at the answers that science gives me than I am to go and find wonder in a burning bush and a talking snake.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, man. Like I love learning about like biology and stuff. It's man, it's amazing. It truly is amazing. So like, yeah, no, I will find science way more compelling than a burning bush, as you say, or a talking donkey or something. I don't know, man.
So what is that saying about when you when you stare into the abyss looks right back at you. How do you cope with these feelings of existential insignificance in this vast universe? How do you face those psychological challenges now that you don't have a God to to give meaning to your life? That's a deep question.
This is a really cool question. I love this question. I really love this question. Like, oh, dude, it's an amazing question. So like, obviously, existential dread was something that like obviously was dreadful in the beginning. Like, obviously, you deconstructed. You had this future. Like you didn't care what happened in the world because you're going to heaven afterwards, right? So like, there's an eternal like life afterwards. So like, I never really worried about the life that I have here. And like, obviously deconstructing and coming to where I am today, I am in a sense of like, it's like, oh shit, like the rug was pulled under you. There is no longer this afterlife, there isn't this like thing this is the life you've got. You're an insignificant little piece of carbon and you've got a little bit of life to live, and that's it, and like, I used to be that was like, that used to scare me so much in the beginning. But now I would say I see myself a bit as a cosmic nihilist, like there is no meaning to life. There is no meaning to anything, and it's so amazing because like, this is the only life I have and this is what I get to do with it. I get to do whatever I want with it. I'm not important. Nobody's important. It's awesome. So like, in a sense that,
I was going to say, it's the same thing when we were talking about morality, how it is completely subjective, and you make your morality up as you go. The same thing with meaning. There are people on the planet who will find infinitely more meaning in gardening cacti on their veranda than a prominent nuclear physicist will do in fulfilling their life's ambition of solving a math equation. So it's completely, meaning is completely subjective.
Yes, and that's something that I've come to realize, is that like, I can put whatever meaning I want to my life right now. I want to help people. That's my thing, man. Like, that's why I started the atheist community of South Africa, was simply to like help people who went down the same path I did and feel alone. So yeah, like that's the thing. So that's the meaning, but other than that, like, there is no meaning, and that's wonderful. I get to die and I just get to cease to exist, and that's amazing. So yeah, I love it.
I like it. Yeah, there's no guilt trip.
Say again, sorry.
I said there's no guilt trip if you think that.
No guilt trip. No, nothing. Like, yeah, it's amazing, dude.
Yeah. Any specific areas of personal growth that you've noticed within yourself now that you no longer believe in God?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like what I said earlier is like, I used to think I was an idiot, and like I used to think I was scum and sinful and like wretched, and I don't like, I used to have such bad self-esteem, and I just don't anymore. I think I'm a pretty cool guy. I reckon that I'm a really cool, intelligent, thoughtful guy. And so like, yeah, I think after leaving the toxicity of religion, I feel much better, man. I feel so much better about myself. Yeah.
It's true. It's like, you know, when you a religion it carries very heavy baggage. There's very heavy baggage that comes with it: guilt, shame, feelings of worthlessness, feelings of inadequacy, feelings
Yeah.
of you know, constantly being a disappointment. All of those things are the
Yes.
baggage that
Yes.
religion carries. So as soon as you put the religion down, you put the baggage down as well. You know, so you have the power to stand in your own truth and to be authentic, to be your authentic self. It's you know, you're not
Yes.
being a version of what you think the sky daddy wants you to be like, you know. So
Yes.
if
Yes.
I don't like someone nowadays, I'm not going to try and you know, turn the other cheek and become resentful because God said I have to be love my fellow man and be nice to my you know. So
Yeah.
I don't like somebody nowadays, I cut it short and I say thank you very much and I move on, you know, and I feel much better about
Yeah.
myself. I mean, it's a very trivial
Absolutely.
example. It's a trivial example, but you know, it serves to illustrate how you take back the power within your own life when you let go of that control system. Because ultimately, that is what the framework of religion is. It's a control mechanism. It's a control
Yeah.
mechanism that is invented by primitive people to control people and to give people direction and purpose. And you know, we as a society, we don't need that anymore. You know, we don't need that anymore. But it's like a child that has a favorite toy. The child does not want
Yeah.
to put the toy down because the toy gives it comfort and it enjoys holding the toy. And look how pretty the toy is.
Yeah.
Other people can play with my toy too. Come and everybody comes together and they look at the toy and they hold the toy and it's so fun, you know. But we realize we've grown up, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cringe to still have the toy. Let's put
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
toy away.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you engage with religious people? You know, now that you know, are you at that stage where you are a bit of a firebrand, like debate me, bro?
Wait, what? Sorry, say again. Sorry, say again.
You know the we call them the debate me, bro. Come bring me a debate, bro. Let me show you how your God is fake. You know.
Yeah, dude. Oh, you know, I gotta say, like, I love people like that. There's, I don't know if you've noticed, there's one guy in my comment section who's just like, dude, he's constantly like, it's in my comment section and in Lisa's comment section, and it's just this guy that goes off like. He's got all these like reasons and everything, and the moment he's on a live or a debate or something, and you say one thing, and he just kind of leaves the live and he starts like throwing a hissy fit in the comments because like you didn't give him chance to speak, and he's the guy that wants to debate, and like when you point out a fallacy or you point out some sort of contradiction that he's making, he can't handle it anymore. So it's like, yeah, those debate me kind of guys they're fun to talk to though sometimes, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. I think the reason why I like debates is for educational purposes. I really like getting people to think critically. You know, so when I do debate somebody and they do come on and they make a claim and I kind of put the claim in the ground and I'm like, all right, cool. Let's think about this for a second.
Yeah.
And they can no longer think about it. Then like I feel like I've educated either them or whoever's watching. And I think that's good. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. They say that debate is the stone on which you sharpen the blade of the mind. You know, so you have to take your ideas and put them up for scrutiny, put them up to the test, and you do that through
Yes.
debate. You do that through debate.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Amazing, amazing. You know, Dan, I want to thank you so much for coming to spend your Sunday afternoon with us, for being so
Thanks for
incredibly
having me,
generous.
man. It was like a
Yeah, for being so incredibly generous with your time. if you guys out there in Bloom ever, you need some connections with atheists and whatever, feel free to reach out to us. We in Cape Town, Joburg, Pretoria, Durban, we've got a community of atheists all over the show. Maybe we can help you guys to get your own thing going. You sound like you all fired up to do something like that. So
yes, absolutely.
I think we must connect afterwards and we must talk about that. Any social media accounts or things that you want to plug online? Where can people find you?
So we've got a YouTube channel, but we haven't got anything up there yet. So if you want to check it out, you're more than welcome to just search the Atheist Community of South Africa on YouTube and follow us so long until we get videos out. And then obviously we got a TikTok account with the Atheist Community of ZA. So yeah, by all means, go check us out there. And we also have a Discord, but I don't know the link off by heart. So I will plug that on my TikTok channel. And whoever is deconstructing their faith right now, whatever questions you might have, we've got a loving community there who would love to sit down and chat with you. So by all means, join us. Let's chat.
Bolilang, ask for clarification. So it's the Atheist Community of South Africa or the Atheist Community of ZA?
So on TikTok, it's the Atheist Community of ZA.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you so much, Dan. It's been a real pleasure. There are atheists all over the show. There's no need for you to feel alone, to feel lonely. If you are in need of atheist community, go to atheistrepublic.com, have a look at your local area, find some atheists that are in your area, because religion does one thing very well, and that is building communities. It builds communities of people around a specific idea. And what do we build atheist communities around? We build it around the same set of ideas. We build it around our own values, our own morals, our own communities. We get together and we do exactly the same thing. So there's no need for you to feel alone if you're going to leave religion. We all realize that there is a social price that you pay when you do leave religion. A lot of relationships get destroyed. A lot of people get ostracized and pushed away. And, so we have to create our own families. We call them our chosen family. So, by all means, reach out, find us online, and you'll find a great community of like-minded individuals there. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Fantastic.
We'll see you next Sunday.
Dude.
You're welcome. Take care. Oh, let me just find my thing here. There we go.
Cool.
Oh,